I'm Jay Kingley, co-founder and CEO of Maven, your host of Fractionals Unplugged. I'm joined today by Oleksii Lunkov. Alexei is a fractional chief e-commerce officer who works with early to mid-stage international companies who operate in competitive digital markets and seek clarity, scalability, and strategic alignment across their e-commerce initiative. Alexei is based in Kyiv, Ukraine. Welcome, Alexei, and how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Jay, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Are you feeling undervalued and stuck in the frustrating cycle of an inconsistent pipeline and income, despite consistently delivering exceptional results for your clients? Maven's proven 97% done-for-you client acquisition system transforms your expertise into a steady income of $300,000 to $500,000 a year, providing lasting financial security and establishing you as the go-to resource for your clients' toughest challenges. Join Jay Kingley, CEO of Maven, and his guests as they share actionable insights on today's episode of the Fractionals Unplugged podcast.
Alexei, when you first meet a potential prospect, it's important for you to give them some context on you so they know how to tell you about their issues and challenges. I'm going to give you a maximum of 60 seconds to give just enough context so that our audience understands where you are coming from. Go.
I usually tell my clients that really what I do is I help them do e-commerce better. And that's all it is. Everything else is kind of around that. And I do that through different things, as you mentioned, driving strategic initiatives or working with the team or working with the roadmap and priorities and stuff like that. But really boils down to helping my customers doing e-commerce better, making better websites and e-commerce experiences.
Well, let's dig deep. So what are some of the key challenges that these early to mid-stage companies who are operating in highly competitive markets, what challenges do they have when it comes to e-commerce?
Yeah, it could be different for different customers, but there are also similar things that unify them sort of. So first thing is usually when kind of a merchant starts e-commerce business, they are not really an e-commerce agency. So they're not an expert in that. And they know their product, they know their business model, their customers, and they do oftentimes great products. But e-commerce is kind of thought after thing for them, and they tend to focus on things that they know how to do and tend to ignore things they don't know how to do. And as a result, they tackle day-to-day stuff, but also strategic stuff which is not related to e-commerce. And they, in the best case scenario, have a partner who is helping them, but they don't have that expertise and knowledge in-house to help manage the partner or maybe drive some of the initiatives concerning the e-commerce that they need to do in-house, and partner will not going to help them with that. So I see that as a main problem for the clients I work with.
So if you think about those challenges, right, that you went through, and if I said, I need you to boil it down to the one single issue that is relative to everything, the most important, it's the most urgent, and it's the most valuable problem that these companies are struggling to resolve when it comes to e-commerce. What's that one thing?
Sales. I think oftentimes they think that their main e-commerce channel, which is usually their website, is underperforming in some way. Oftentimes it's sales, but those kind of lack of sales often can be decomposed to either speed of the website or accessibility of the website or design of the website is not great, or maybe the payment options are not great, or delivery is not really up to standard of modern e-commerce. Usually when clients come to me, they say, hey, our e-com sales are not as good as we want them to be. And then we start from there and we decode basically what that means. And usually that means a lot of things, but this is the problem they're coming with.
Okay, so I want you to put yourself in the mind, in the head of the CEO of one of these companies. And obviously, the revenue is important. Growing their sales is really important. But if I asked you what that enables, why is the revenue so important? For example, are they trying to raise money, or do they need to give a return to investors? Have they invested in their business and they need to get an ROI on that investment, which is why they need to grow their revenues? So if you got in the head of that CEO, why is this such a critical issue? And what is he really trying to achieve that this revenue growth would enable?
Actually, that's a great question, because I think, again, for a lot of different clients, it's different things. But as I work with kind of SMBs mostly, and e-commerce is this kind of area where we don't have a lot of startups. We have a lot of traditional businesses, and I work with them as well. I work with a couple of startups doing consultancy for them, but mainly I focus on functioning e-commerce businesses. And for them, any spend on anything should have ROI attached to that. So for them, they understand they need to invest in something like e-commerce, like their website, their traffic, PPC, but they also understand if sales are behind, they cannot do that. So for them, actually, we have this vicious circle, and I face this very difficult problem when I come in, which is we don't have sales, so we don't want to invest in our e-commerce channel, but we need to invest in our e-commerce channel in order to get sales. So, and that's the problem, that we kind of try to break this vicious circle and try to optimize current operations to find the new budget, to invest that budget in the e-commerce channels, then see growth of that channel and invest more. So basically, that's what concerns the leaders in the e-commerce.
Well, given that you work for companies that are in very highly competitive spaces, getting a competitive advantage is the difference between winning and losing. The revenue is like the lifeblood of any business. Without cash coming in the door, you're in a lot of trouble. These competitive advantages, because it's so competitive, are fleeting. If you do something that's a little bit better than someone else, they're going to copy you really, really quickly. So you're on this hamster wheel that's turning at an ever increasing pace, and you've got to feed that engine, which is going to come from your revenues if you want to be successful. So I think you've absolutely got your finger on why this is so critical. Now, obviously, these companies aren't sitting around and saying, woe is me, what should I do? They're trying. They're doing things to try to solve this issue. So what are the types of things that you see that companies do?
Einstein has this saying, which is the problem cannot be solved on the same level as the problem was created. And that is exactly what I see in the businesses. The current website is not doing well, is not performing well because of the things that we did. They say, we're not going to change anything that led to that website. What we're going to do, we're going to have the same systems, the same people, the same processes, and we're going to rebuild the website, maybe even with the same contractor to do that. And the result is the same. And I see that time and time again, and websites is just an example. It might be the PPC campaign on Google, on Meta. It may be kind of some technical implementation of a solution. It may be anything. But really, I like this saying, the problem cannot be solved on the same level that it was created. So in order to change something, you have to change the system that led to that problem. As a new blood in the system, I'm part of that solution, but also I think businesses that I work with have this line in the contract as well. As a business owner and as a business, you have to be ready for a change, because I'm not gonna drive all the results. You have to be ready for a change, and I'm part of the solution, but you're also gonna need to be part of the solution.
What happens, I think, more frequently than not, is a business experiences symptoms, and they chase symptoms. But the symptoms and the cause are often two different things. So you can chase symptoms and you won't get anywhere. They just keep popping back up because there's something deeper going on. So what insight do you have as to the root cause that's driving these symptoms? And it's one of two things. It's either your clients don't understand the root cause, or they're misinformed about what it is which is causing them to fail. Alexei, what's your take?
It depends, but one thing I see from a lot of businesses and business owners, they try to ignore what I call e-commerce 101 or e-commerce basis, right? And they say, my customers are different, my business is different, and I understand everybody's business is different, but it doesn't mean you have to ignore basic things. Those things are not basic because they're not important. They're basic because without them you cannot succeed. And I see a lot of businesses and business owners being so focused on uniqueness of their products and their businesses that they ignore the e-commerce 101, the basic stuff, which is your site performant enough? Is the UX on your website good enough? What about payment options? Do you have enough of them? Are customers able to pay you money when they want and how they want? Do you have PayPal Pay in 4? Do you have all of those things? Is your delivery a couple of days or just a couple of months and your customers are leaving because they don't want to wait a couple of months? All of those things are very, very important. And I think they oftentimes are being prioritized in the search of uniqueness of the brand, which I think shouldn't be done. I think both uniqueness of the brand, but also basic things should be part of the roadmap of the business. But also, on the other hand, I see a lot of businesses straight up ignoring what they call fluffy stuff, like vision, mission, cultural relevance of the product that they try to sell. To those businesses, I would also say it's really good that you're focusing on kind of very hard and basic things, but also it is important for your brand to differentiate. I see a lot of businesses on one side completely ignoring basic stuff and businesses on the other hand focusing only on that. And I think to succeed, you need both. And I think that's very rare in my clients that I see both. And my role in that is to try to bring both vision and mission and also e-commerce 101.
Now, you've talked about what are some of these underlying causes. You've talked about things that they do, whether it's redoing their website or doing a new pay-per-click campaign that will not resolve this root cause. So beyond those two buckets that you talked about, what is it that these companies need to do differently to, as I like to call it, get out of struggle city and get into success city?
I think, first of all, let's back up. And for any business that is struggling right now, I almost can guarantee you that you are fighting with day-to-day stuff all day long. So for the moment, just breathe and step out of that. And think about what are the things that you are here for? What are the things that you want to achieve in, let's say, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? What are the strategic focus of the business that you're trying to do? Then out of all of that, try to think about 3 projects that you need to execute during next 6 months that will lead you to that goal that you're trying to achieve long term. And then find the team who is able to execute on those 3 projects that you're going to execute within 6 months that will move you toward your goal. And I emphasize the team here, and I think the people are the key of any business process. And I think a lot of businesses are struggling because they think they can leverage talent that they already have to drive new things. And oftentimes it's not the case. Oftentimes you need to bring in new talent, whether it's me or team members that you're going to hire or freelancers that already been there and done that, or maybe contractors or system integrators that can do similar things and done similar things in the past. So whatever it is, I think team is always the key to that. But also any team will need strategic input from you as a business owner, and that's your job.
Sound advice. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to learn a bit about Alexei.
Is your pipeline inconsistent and rarely full? Do you struggle to stand out and communicate your unique value? The lead generation you've done or had others do for you has largely been a waste of time and money. You're stressed out and feeling guilty, worried that you're not living up to your own expectations or supporting those who matter most to you. Maven offers the only 97% done-for-you client acquisition service trusted by top fractional executives and consultants. Our proven system takes care of your go-to-market strategy, lead generation, and sales, turning your expertise into a full pipeline and a high-converting sales process. With Maven, you'll achieve a predictable income, financial security, and the confidence you'll never have to take a job working for someone else. Contact j.kingley at fractionalmaven.com to discover how Maven can help you build a thriving business working with clients who value your insights and are a joy to work with.
Welcome back. We're talking to Oleksii Lunkov, who is a fractional chief e-commerce officer working with early to mid-stage international companies operating in competitive digital markets. Alexei, let's find out a bit more about you. And let me start with, what happened in your life, personally or professionally, that most explains why you're doing what you do today?
That's a long story, but I feel like I fell in love with e-commerce from day one. I've been in that industry for short of 10 years, and I really like it. I think the main thing is that I worked with other kind of tech companies and digital companies in the past, but the issue that I faced was that you work on the project, but then this project is never being delivered to production to real customers. And with e-commerce, you essentially don't have that problem at all, because every single project that I worked on during the past almost 10 years has always been customer facing. For me, that's real kind of blessing and advantage as a person and as a kind of business specialist, that I, I have this opportunity to work with real data, with real customers, with real problems, and not made up problems with startups that will never see the light of day. But I think over 10 years that I've been in the industry, I saw a lot of things. I've been to a lot of places, professionally speaking, and I also want to bring that experience to more projects that will benefit from that. For example, during my last kind of project in the agency world, I worked for 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, and that was a single project that I only work on that project. And that's cool and everything, but I also want more diversity in my day-to-day kind of work. And to be honest, life in general, I'm dynamic in nature, and I feel like I strive in that dynamic environment more. That role of fractional e-commerce officer gives me opportunity to work with a lot of businesses and see a lot of business models and work with a lot of stakeholders, and to really enjoy that.
So what's one thing that few people know about you that would be surprising?
I feel like I'm not keeping that a secret, so maybe just a lot of people know that already. Gosh, 2019, I survived a stroke. So that was obviously a life-changing moment for me. Issues with your health, that stuff is always tough. But then nowadays, I just do sports 6 times a week. I play tennis, I do gym, I do yoga, I do a lot of stuff. And that kind of brings me joy to have this, survivor mentality of or underdog mentality. Everything is against me, but I still can do that. And I think it's inspiring for me also to see that same mentality in business owners for small and medium-sized businesses operating in very competitive markets. And I really enjoy working with them. I feel like they are my soulmates.
Very inspirational. Well, what's next for you over the coming 12 months?
Right now, I'm partnering with a person from United Kingdom. We are doing a consultancy agency, right? But we also are bringing in like trusted partners across development and marketing. That's really, really exciting. I'm gonna still do fractional role for businesses, but I also want to develop that agency and see how it goes. I'm also working on online education with my other partner, but it's more like for my own pleasure. I'm not, I'm doing that because I like it, not for some commercial reason, but hopefully this online education stuff will also inspire people to do more and to live better lives.
What's the best way for our audience to contact you?
Hit me up on LinkedIn, but also email me at alexei@lunkov.com. So that's two best ways to reach me out.
I will put his contact information in the show notes. Alexei, I want to thank you for being a guest on our Fractionals Unplugged show. Be sure to subscribe to both our podcast on all the major platforms and our YouTube channel for our videos. Use the power of your one big idea to differentiate you from everyone else who does what you do. Enjoy pipeline consistently filled with clients you want to work with who value what you do. Choose the freedom, flexibility, and control that comes from having your own fractional or consulting business, and enjoy being financially secure and professionally fulfilled. Until next time.